Hi, Andrew Bell here with you once again. First up, thank you for the wonderful feedback about our interview last e-newsletter with Tom Panos. During the course of the year, I'll continue to bring interviews with experts from the world of real estate to share their insights. This fortnight, we're continuing featuring just one of the components of our annual property report, which is first home buyers, who've always been very significant to the real estate food chain. There are some really fascinating features to their activity at present. But before we do that, let's have a look at a couple of quick updates on some of the fundamentals that drive the real estate market. Perhaps the one that is drawing the greatest attention at present is unemployment. It jumped significantly in the latest figures, released a fortnight ago. Unemployment rose to a 12-year high of 6.4%. However, what wasn't acknowledged was that the Australian Bureau of Statistics changed their method of measuring unemployment. Without going into enormous detail, what fundamentally happened was they broadened their measure of unemployment, which meant that more people were considered unemployed than were recorded previously. This means that the increase in unemployment wasn't necessarily an increase of people who had lost their jobs, but an extension of the net, recording those who previously were not recorded. This means the latest figures are unreliable as a direct comparison to previous figures, and that we're going to need to look at a number of months moving forward to see a new pattern. The new measure may well be a true reflection of unemployment, but it's not necessarily a reflection of a rise in unemployment in the last month. In fact, there's been a rise in job ads on the internet, which are up 4.2% for the year, which suggests that there are more jobs around than there were previously. So that should mean that there is actually going to be a fall in unemployment. It will also be interesting looking at the figures moving forward on this front. Now, housing finance is up again, and it has peaked at levels of $27.7 billion for the month. Now, that's up 17.1% higher than the previous year. It's good to see that there were 6,255 commitments to build brand new homes, which is up again 15.7% on a year ago. Population growth is continuing at its high levels and currently at 1.7% or around 400,000 a year. This just means that there will be constant demand for new housing, and that means construction, which of course is a big stimulant to our economy. There is no question there is still great strength in the resale market, and this is during what is traditionally a quiet period of time, our winter. Last week we had our commercial auctions with 12 properties being submitted, and 7 of them were sold under the hammer, with a further 2 selling straight after. There were over $7 million in sales, and quite a number of properties were selling at 20% higher than their reserve prices. Quite remarkable. Likewise, in the residential auction, there's been a really big turnaround in results. And of all of this is before what is traditionally a very busy period of time, and that's spring, which is on our doorstep now. So now looking at first home buyers. Traditionally, they have started off our sales at our lowest price brackets, allowing people to move up through into higher price brackets. They also tend to buy newly constructed homes in the outer areas, giving stimulation to the economy, as well as helping develop a new market in the outer areas, which encourage greater urban development, rather than all of the buyers focusing their attention on the inner city developments. Traditionally, when activity stagnates at the price entry level of the real estate market, that does have an effect on everybody up the price chain. Also traditionally, first home buyers have represented 20% of the market, but during 2013 this fell to 12.6% and has only slightly improved this year. Now, these are the lowest figures since data started being collected back in July 1991. Interestingly, many first home buyers are no longer buying properties for themselves to live in, but in fact they are buying investment properties so as to get the benefits of negative gearing, which makes it affordable for them to actually buy a property. The average home loan is $290,800, and during the last year the actual number of first home buyers across the country amounted to 92,700. You know, there is no wonder that there's been a greater need for investors in the marketplace at present, because first home buyers are so significantly lower proportion of buyers in the marketplace, so somebody has to provide them with rental accommodation. There is a real fear that for many first home buyers, they are not going to be able to ever purchase their first property. However, the figures are a little questionable. First of all, there is no proper way of recording first home buyers other than through first home buyer grants, and those come through the application numbers. This grant only applies to brand new housing, so there's no way of actually recording first home buyer activity in the second-hand market. Now, this has always been the case, but we suspect that there are more first home buyers in the second-hand market than at any time before. We certainly acknowledge that Generation Y, which is the largest rental group, are more interested in travel and other lifestyle considerations and actually see a home loan as a bit of a burden. And so it may well be that we're seeing a permanent shift in the number of first home buyers that will be in the marketplace going forward. We also acknowledge that Generation Y are partnering up later in life. As young adults, they prefer to live in inner city apartments than moving to the outer suburbs. I guess we all acknowledge that we no longer are living in a nation where young adults automatically move to marriage and children and a suburban mortgage. Now, the final consideration is that the government grants are only applicable to new housing stock, and quite frankly, is not where the majority of first home buyers now want to live. And they have a preference for lower cost real estate, and that's the resale market. So we're not likely to see first home buyers come back into the market in great volumes as we've seen in the past 2 decades, but they are still an important part of our market and help young people get a foothold in this real estate market and set themselves up for financial security for the future. Now, time doesn't permit for me to go into a lot more detail, but a knock-on effect of this drop in first home buyers is that we do need significantly higher number of investors to provide rental accommodation for these first home buyers who can no longer buy. So, 2 closing comments. First is, with the strong resurgence in the property market, we're getting lots of questions about the market in general. And so we're holding an information evening on the 27th of August at the QT Hotel here in the Surfers Paradise, and starts at 6 p.m. And we'll be providing good information about all aspects of the market for those who are interested. There are a number of keynote speakers, and it's all completely free of charge, and we extend an invitation to all. Finally, I am pleased to say our annual Muscular Dystrophy Ball is now a complete sellout. In fact, we have people on a waiting list. However, if anyone would like to support this event, we're still keen to get some great auction items or some raffle items that could be provided to raise the funds for these poor kids with this dreaded disease. If you can help in any way, please contact our ball coordinator, Selena Carsons, whose number is on screen present. Well, that's it. Only 2 weeks until September, and one can only imagine how hot the market's going to be, given that we have had an incredibly strong winter season. If you're thinking of selling, remember our big spring event starts up shortly, and if you'd like to be part of it, please contact us, let us know, and we can be contacted on the number seen on screen. Well, that's it. I'll see you in a fortnight's time.